This comment spotlights the extremist, right? It spotlights the extremist point of view, the extremist mentality. And let me explain to you why I say that. So this is in regard to me talking about how it's probably going to chap Trump's ass that the flags in this country are going to be at half staff during his inauguration because of Jimmy Carter's passing, right? The flags are lowered to half staff for 30 days following the passing of a president, which puts it past the inauguration, which means while he's being inaugurated and celebrating, the nation is still in mourning for the passing of Jimmy Carter, and that there are going to be millions of people that are going to be thinking about Jimmy Carter instead of his inauguration, and it's probably going to chap his ass a little bit. This person left the following comment. You're mistaken. Let's stop right there. Are you honestly telling me I'm mistaken? Let's just take me as an example alone. Are you telling me I'm mistaken about what I'm going to be thinking about on Inauguration Day? Are you telling me I'm mistaken about what people I know and have spoken to are going to be thinking about on Inauguration Day? Because if so, that's impressive that you can tell us that we're mistaken for what's going on in our own head, for our own thoughts. But I digress. Many of us couldn't have cared less had Jimmy Carter lived, not lived, or dynamite. What does that mean? Blown himself up? That one was weird. Can you elaborate on that? The dynamite? We will be watching the inauguration, not the flags. That's good for you. I won't be watching the inauguration. I saw that dance once. No need to see it again. But here's where we get into the extremist viewpoint. Carter was bad. Obama was worse. And then TikTok cut out the last line. And it says Biden was the worst. You don't see that as an extremist viewpoint? The last two Democratic presidents were the worst two presidents in American history? You want to know how I know that's an extremist viewpoint? Because let's just say, for example, I don't give a fuck who runs on the Republican ticket in 2028. Let's assume for a second a Democrat wins. Pick your Democrat. Doesn't matter who. Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, Gavin Newsom. Pick a Democrat. Doesn't fucking matter who it is. If they win in 2028, you guys will say they're the worst president in American history. Each new Democratic president will be labeled as the worst in American history. Just like you guys are doing here. Just like you guys do over and over again. Joe Biden was the worst president in American history. Second worst, Obama. And then we just go backwards on the Democratic presidents. The only one you left out here was Clinton. You don't think that that's an extremist viewpoint? That the last Democratic president was the worst president in American history? And then the one before that was the worst, and the one before that, and the one before that, that every new one that comes down the pipeline is the worst? Well, Tom, you say Trump was the worst president in American history. Yes, I do believe Trump was the worst president in American history. But that doesn't mean that I believe W was the second worst, and HW was the third worst, and Reagan was the fourth worst. No, there are other presidents far back in our history that were worse. You guys just see Democrat next to a modern, or D next to a modern president's name, and you automatically say they're the worst president in American history. You guys are like that fucking clown over on Twitter, Dan Bongino. I call him Bingo Bongo. Every single day, from the day he was inaugurated until the day he dropped out of the race, every single day of Joe Biden's presidency, Dan Bongino woke up and the first tweet he put on Twitter was, today is whatever the day is, and Joe Biden is the worst president in American history. And the day he dropped out of the race, he stopped doing it. And the next day, he started waking up every day, and the first tweet was, today is blah, 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 whatever day it is, and Kamala Harris is the worst vice president in American history. Just showing that his extremism just moves to the next person. And since the election, every day he's woken up and said, today is blah, 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 and Donald Trump is the greatest president-elect in American history. You guys aren't embarrassed by this shit? Not at all, are you? You have no fucking embarrassment, no shame, no humiliation. Guarantee goddamn to you, the next Democrat to win the White House, will be labeled as the worst president in American history by people like you.